Well, I'm delighted to welcome Josenny Durand, who is a senior at Salem State. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the show and also for your participation as part of the crew.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your Salem State experience. So what's your major and what's your minor and why did you choose those?
I'm a communications major and a concentration in media production, with minors in interactive multimedia and film.
And how did you decide that was going to be your major
and
minor?
I've always been interested in TV production. In high school I took a class and I was really interested in filming, so I was trying to find a film major, but Salem State has communications, which is pretty close. So
sure. And why did you choose Salem State?
I grew up in Salem and it's local, close to family. It wasn't my first choice, but I like it.
Is it because you lived in Salem and wanted to go away? Do you live in the residence hall or do you live at home?
No, I'm a commuter.
Okay,
yeah.
So you're another commuter student.
Yeah.
So what's the best thing? You're a senior at Salem State. What has been the best thing about your Salem State experience so far?
I mean, I've loved all of it. The classes I take are great. It really helps to build experience and learning for when I get a job in the field. So it's been pretty great overall. If
you could change one thing about your Salem State experience, I'm a graduate of Salem State, so but years and years and years ago, so I'm thinking my experiences might be different from yours, but if you could change one thing, what would it be?
I feel like everyone always says this, to be more involved. I wish I had joined clubs and more things outside.
Is there any reason why you didn't?
Time, pretty much. I work as well, so I didn't really have time after classes to come back to campus.
Do you think it would have been different for you if you had lived on campus, as opposed to being a commuter student?
Yeah, because when you're a resident, you get to know more people, you join more things, but when you're a commuter, you have to go back and forth, back to campus, home, so it's difficult.
So we talked a little bit about why you took your major and your interest. When you graduate, what do you want your career field to be? What does your ideal job look like?
I'd love to be a film director or editor, anything in the film area, really.
Are you involved with the Salem Film Festival? Do you know about that?
No.
So we should tell you about that. We can tell you about that. So how has this class helped you in terms of what your future goals want to be?
Well, it's definitely showed me how to produce a show in a studio. I've never done anything like this, except for our class last year, Studio Production 1, but it's really taught me how to use the cameras, how to direct, how to use the lights, everything about a production in a studio.
How do these lights work for you?
They're really good.
Yeah. How does it feel to be sitting in front of the camera as opposed to behind the camera? Is it different?
It's so weird. I prefer being behind the camera, which is funny because when I was younger, I always said I wanted to be an actress. But when I was put in front of a camera, I'm always like, I get really shy.
Well, now you get to experience. So part of your class experience is getting to experience what people feel like where you're sitting right now. So during this class, have you had a sort of aha moment where you're like, oh, I didn't realize I'd love this, or maybe this wasn't what I thought it was going to be? Did you have any of those?
Not really, no.
So it met all your expectations?
Yeah, pretty much.
So what was your favorite role in this production class?
I love directing, so whenever I get the chance to direct, I get really excited.
How come you like directing?
I like taking charge, I guess. Telling people what to do.
Okay. Well, that's what the director does, right?
Yeah, you tell them, I want the camera like this, sit like this,
So you've learned, well, that's great though, but I think kind of finding out where your passion is and where you feel like you're best suited for things that you like and you can focus on that. So you do you rotate through a lot of positions. Is there one thing that you wish, gee, I wish we had learned this or had exposure to that in the course? Or would you say the class would be better if we had added this component to it?
I mean, the class was great overall. We learned a lot of things. One thing I wish I had learned more probably would be editing. But since everything is shot live and there's not really much editing to do, it's fine. But I really wish there was more of an editing component in it.
Okay. Well, that's good to because actually, if you want to go into film, right, it's all about editing, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit. You're graduating in next May, and you've got career opportunities. How do you envision your job getting when you get out? Are you looking for a traditional full-time job? Are you looking for sort of a part-time job to allow you to do some of your or freelancing to allow you to pursue sort of your film interests? What does that look like for you? What's your plan for that?
I'm not really sure yet.
Yeah.
I would love to get a full-time job right away, but that's kind of unrealistic. So
Okay.
anything I can get, really.
All right.
Yeah.
So how are you going to go about that, do you think? What are you going to do when you graduate and you say, okay, now no more school, now I need to get a job?
Well, I'm going to be an intern here at SATV next semester, so hopefully
good.
that'll open up more opportunities for me.
Okay.
But hopefully I can get a good job after that.
Good, good. So what do you so as you're starting to process all of this, so you've got a little bit of a plan, a short-term plan in terms of that, laying a good foundation for where you want to get into. What's your biggest concern about kind of entering the workforce? Do you feel prepared for it? What do you think the biggest challenges are that you're going to face?
I mean, filmmaking is a very competitive field. Being a director or anything with TV or film is competitive, so that's obviously a little challenging when I get out of college. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get a job in this field? You know, that's a little hard to think about. But
Okay. So you should probably check out the sort of Salem Film Festival that they have.
Yeah.
It's people who make films and they showcase it locally, and you get to talk to people about how they put all of that together and just sort of connecting to that. I think being plugged into Salem Access is a great also another base. Are you familiar with kind of career services?
Yeah.
And have you talked to them already, or?
I haven't yet, but I've heard of them, and I am thinking of visiting them.
So I think talk to them before you graduate, because I think it will help. So so you've had a great experience here. You kind of know what you want to do when you graduate. If you could go any place in the world, where would it be? And why?
I've always wanted to travel. I always said, like, after I graduate, I'd like to take a year and just travel. So, I mean, anywhere. I'd love to go to, like, Spain, Greece, anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could do a film,
Yes.
right? You could do that.
I could.
Well, listen, thank you so much for all of your work this past semester and for being a guest, and wish you all the best on graduation.
Thank you.